So I've been going through a lot of ego deaths in the past 2 months or so. And yeah, I mean, the first time I went through an ego death was in ayahuasca ceremony, and I went through a few actually, and it was quite crazy, quite scary. I was really fighting for my life, and it was just happening anyway. So yeah, so even if I really fought against it, it still happened. Um, then I don't really think, and this is like years ago. This is maybe 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and I don't really think I've had such experiences since then. And then 2 months ago, it started to happen that I just felt like I was dying, and it was just like a feeling. Uh, but then the feeling is so strong that other things that are happening in my life that kind of look like things are going downhill will then seem like proof of it. But those things are nothing that is happening like in the moment. And at some point, it was such a strong feeling that I just kind of gave up. I surrendered just to that absolute loss of energy and yeah, because the way it's been happening for me is like I've been feeling like really heavy. And then when I just surrender to it, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna feel like that, or even die, even though it never feels like that's actually happening in the moment. It's like this paradox. It really feels like I'm dying for real, but at the same time, it's not like it feels like I'm surrendering to that feeling that I'm actually gonna die in that moment. But it's just really heavy. And then when I do that, I come out, and the day after I'm like full of energy and often very happy and so forth. But then it just kind of keeps on going. Um, and the past few days have been extremely heavy, and today I was kind of grasping that, like, wow, you know, actually kind of realizing how heavy it was. And and then I started to understand that this was probably happening again. And this time around, as I started to surrender, I could see that what was happening, because this ego death, it's like these parts of us that are dying, like these beliefs, things that we identify as, and that's why it feels like we are dying. But it's not us that is dying, it's actually some aspect of us, some belief system, or something like that, and that we somehow identify with. And because we identify with it, then it feels like we are actually the one that is dying, but it's actually not us that is dying. It's just some belief system, emotional system, or something that we identify with. And today, what came up is this victimhood belief system that I'm aware of, but it's been very interesting that even if I'm aware of it, when it really gets triggered, I really don't see a way out of it. Even if I kind of get that, hey, whoa, there's like this massive victimhood mindset, because it so has been so strong that it really debilitates me in taking action that would kind of move in the other way of the victimhood mindset. And now, as I was relaxing into to this kind of this like surrendering to this extreme heaviness and this kind of dying, that came up, and I could see it, and it was really active. And in this case, what actually happened now was actually because I recognized this kind of very specific belief system, that I asked a higher entity. Like I really like Jesus. I'm not a Christian or anything like that, but I really believe that Jesus was really like an high level ascended master. And yeah, I think it's like was and still is like really really powerful. And so as and immediately it started to leave me, and I could just feel it very quickly. And I also got the question wanted this moved from my family, because it's pretty clear to me that this kind of is an belief system that comes from my family. And eventually I did say yes. And I would say eventually because believe that to respect free will is really important. So I was a little bit unsure if in a way I had kind of permission to do that. But at some point I got kind of like a knock on my back, which seemed clear to me that was about like, yeah, do it. So I did do that. So yeah, so I just kind of thought I'd do this video just in case that there's maybe maybe you're going through something like this. And I would just say that if you are feeling like really heavy, and even to the point that it feels like you're kind of dying, if you can see that, just kind of look around your room and you see like there is actually nothing threatening me here, like, and maybe the fears or the kind of confirmations that you're having around why you would be dying, if you can kind of see that, even if it all looks really real, if you can kind of see that that's still kind of somehow in the distant future, so you can kind of really confirm that there is actually nothing going on, my experience is that to surrender to that feeling and just kind of really relax into it. Obviously, if you have some actual reason to believe that maybe something is going on, I mean, then I would of course, suggest you, do whatever would make sense to do to check about that. So, important to be careful here, of course. So, yeah, and actually, what's been happening is that it seems to me that I've actually been kind of running away from these tests like for a few years. But I always just had the energy to do that. I always had energy to somehow uh, move in ways that kind of took me away from this feeling. But now somehow, I've just been kind of, I'm just somehow finding myself in a place where I just don't I just don't have that anymore. Like the intensity of the heaviness and the lack of energy, is just so strong that I can't move, so in the end, it's like, okay, I just have to surrender to this. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope it's helpful to me, and feel free to, comment below if um, if this resonates, or if you have some questions or something like that. And yeah, also feel free to reach out if you maybe want to talk or something. I'm happy to try to accommodate that.